It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
And a fine Saturday morning to the two of you.
Hey!
We made it. I'm so happy to see both of you. You made it out of 2020.
Oh, barely.
Congratulations.
Can't say 2021's off to a better start.
No.
What shape are we in? That's the
Personally,
question.
I go by the lunar calendar, like the other half of the world. So we are still technically in 2020. So not until around Valentine's Day does the Lunar New Year shift and the ox show up. So I'm waiting for that.
I'm
It'll be
all
in a very
for
different
that.
world by the time Valentine's Day rolls around.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, indeed. Yeah, no, it's been quite a time, but hey, we're in 2021. It's the second weekend of the year. So, Ray, Kyle, how are things? What's going on in your movie lives? Anything exciting and interesting and worth talking about?
Well, like a bunch of people in our Discord community, I'm taking part in the 2021 Criterion Challenge.
Oh, I don't know about the Criterion Challenge. Tell me about that.
So, there's this list on Letterboxd that someone came up with, and it gives you 52 criteria for movies, and you pick one that fits that criteria for each week of the year. And so I watched my first one, the criteria for which was a movie from 1984, which is when the Criterion Collection started. And I watched the movie Paris, Texas, which I gave 5 stars. I thought it was phenomenal.
Well, that's a good way to start the list. Hopefully it keeps that momentum and doesn't drop off the cliff for you.
Yeah.
Criterion I find fascinating because where else can you have Kurosawa and Michael Bay films right next to each other? It's so fast. It was interesting because Apple ran a sale of Criterion, so I was going through and I was sort of completing my Kurosawa collection. But it was interesting to see what they considered to be Criterion worthy.
I mean, they have licensed a lot of really interesting things from around the world. So I think it would be fun to do. I just, me, I have way too many movie lists that I'm trying to do right now. My watch list is already too full. I'm just like, I can't add another 52 films to my list right now.
What's next on the list, Ray?
It's actually a Kurosawa film. It's the Bad Sleep Well.
Oh, look at that.
Was that the category, or did you just use that film to fill the slot in?
Week 2 actually is the one that is directed by Kurosawa,
okay.
but there was 1 week where it was a movie from the 1950s, and I chose a Kurosawa movie, and I think it was The Idiot.
Oh, that's a tough one. Good luck.
But you would like week 5, Andy, because it is Criterion movies released on Laserdisc.
Hey.
Ooh. Wow, I remember Laserdisc.
Well, speaking of movies and stuff, I mean, Spamalot's going to be a movie, it sounds like, right?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I find this fascinating because are people just buying up Broadway things now? Because that was an okay show, but it already was a movie.
Hey, it worked. It's worked before, right? I mean, the producers.
No, it did not work in the producers. That movie was a bomb.
I'm forgetting the one that it's Good Morning Baltimore. What's that one?
Oh, Hairspray.
There you go. So
yeah, true. Became a movie, became a musical, and
then they kind of do this whole backward and forward thing over and over again. So I mean, it has been. I'll say it has been financially successful. I can't say that it's necessarily quality. I don't know if the quality is necessarily there. I've never seen Spamalot. I can't say. I mean,
True.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail is always been a favorite of mine. So I love that.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder. It's like, did they need to make a movie of this? But yeah, who knows?
The only one I can think of that I feel like it really worked would be Little Shop of Horrors. Because that was a movie that was made into a Broadway musical and then back to movie. And I feel like the movie musical really holds up.
100%. Yeah, that's actually, that's an interesting one because the movie was it was almost like a very interesting journey for that one because that movie was such a Corman low budget schlock film and the Broadway
only for Jack Nicholson
exactly
being
right the Broadway show really kind of changed things up and did everything better. Plus, I mean, it had who Alan Menken was writing the musical there. So it just, there's a lot of strength behind that alone. So yeah, I can see that being a great success. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about Spamalot, but I've never been curious enough to seek out the Broadway show.
Well, I remember when the show came out, initially, I never got the chance to see the show, but I listened to the CD religiously.
Oh, you have?
Because I was
the cast recording's really good. That's, is it Tim Curry?
Yes. Tim Curry plays King Arthur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. David Hyde Pierce was in that too, I believe.
Yeah. He played Sir Robin. Hank Azaria.
But, anything that gets Eric Idle more money, I'm all for it.
Well, it's funny because I feel like, was it, and I know, it's been a while since we talked about the producers. I mean, it was 2018 because it was part of our 50th anniversary year when we were looking at films from 1968. We looked at the producers and the Broadway, the movie version of the Broadway show that was adapted from it. And I know we talked about this. I just can't remember now the whole idea of adapting movies to Broadway musicals. Like, obviously there have been a lot of that kind of back and forth, but it really seemed that the success of the producers really spurred a lot of this stuff on, leading to The Lion King, and then that really just kind of blew up all the Disney properties, and then all of a sudden it was everybody wanted to get on the train. And I mean, Mel Brooks has done more of his properties, and I mean, everybody's just doing all this stuff now. So
yeah, I think there was rumors of a Blazing Saddles at some point that Mel was working on, but I don't know if that ever materialized.
I know they did Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's Young Frankenstein. Yeah, the Frankenstein I actually have a real soft spot for. I really liked their adaptation of it, but it did not do well, and it closed pretty quickly on Broadway.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
I knew that they did it, but
I mean, Megan Mullally was great in that. I mean, Sutton Foster was great in that. Roger Bart. I mean, it was a really, really good show, but just didn't catch on with audiences.
It's such a great movie. That's one I need to rewatch. I miss it.
Oh, and Andrea Martin was Frau Blucher, and did a great job too. I was waiting for that. See if they drop a sound effect in there for me. While we're on this subject, there is actually one of my favorite musicals fits in this category and is completely overlooked by all things because it was a obscure musical based on an obscure film, and it's called My Favorite Year. You guys remember My Favorite Year?
It's great. Yeah, we talked about it on the show.
Yeah. So they actually did a musical version of it.
Really?
Starring Tim Curry. He had the lead role. And it's a really interesting musical that's a slice of life from that time, about a television show happening at that time, and then also telling a story of this big movie star sort of on the outs comes to the show and great music and stuff too. It's just one of these it was too early. It came out before sort of the boom of adapting movies to musicals, and so it sort of got there too soon and didn't really do that successful. But I love that show. So any musicals fan out there, I'd check that out. It's a really, really great cast recording.
Yeah, I will say that was something good that came out of the pandemic, is that whole Broadway, a show a week sort of thing that they were doing for a while. I saw some of Phantom when that was out there. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Phantom 2, more Phantomer. Love Never Dies. So if you guys have ever seen the sequel to Phantom of the Opera, it's out there now.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
so
it's called Love Never Dies, and it's about Phantom comes to America. I swear to God, the show is the Phantom joins the Phantom of the Opera joins a freak show that operates on Coney Island, and then Christine travels over and meets up with him again, and he finds out he has a child. It is not to be missed because wow, I say this is the next real podcast. We're talking about musicals, but hey, while we're talking about it, they did an Annie 2.
Really?
Yes, it was called Annie Warbucks. There was a Broadway musical sequel to Annie.
All right.
Oh, geez.
Much less, and also we know about the Spider-Man musical, but there's also a Superman musical.
Interesting.
Called Look Up in the Sky. It's Superman. I swear to God, the cast album is out there.
Wow.
Officially licensed by DC. Even though I don't think
okay, so this conversation has been good and enlightening because what it tells me is that theater people are as desperate for properties as film people,
yes.
and they will rip off, they will do whatever they can to get a new show sold, whether it's making a crappy sequel or jumping onto some superhero bandwagon. So there you go.
Making Carrie the musical.
That's one I feel like I have heard. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
It got revived by Riverdale. They did an they in the show. They were doing a version of it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies and screenings and stuff, Kyle, you found some interesting an interesting article about a film festival. Did you want to talk about this particular film festival?
I did. It was interesting because how do you do film festivals now when you can't get together? Like you can't do a Sundance where you're running from screening to screening and everybody descends on a town and stuff and you go around. So what do you do? Well, from the people who brought you a film festival that you had to lay in a coffin to watch. Now comes a film festival where if you win, you get sent to a lighthouse alone to watch the films. So that's something you win and not a punishment that you were given. I don't know. I find it fascinating that they're trying to find new ways to do this stuff, but also, do they take you there by force?
The whole thing, honestly, it is one of those things where I see this sort of thing and I'm like, I totally want to sign up for that. I totally want to go. But I'm like, do I have to pay for my own ticket? Because it's off the coast of Sweden. It's off the, where was the thing? It was on the very edge of the archipelago in one of Sweden's most barren, wind-swept locations.
And that's a steep competition.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a 7-day festival. It's like a full week, January 29th to February 8th.
Yeah.
And you have to, you're watching 60 movies over the course of that period of time. I don't know. Well, and they're doing it at a couple other places too. They rented out an arena, which seats 12,000 some people, and a big theater, but that seats like 700 people. But it's the same thing. They're only doing it for one person. And I was like, wow, this is a really interesting way to kind of create a type of festival that is, and then the person who is there, you're going to be journaling a video journal for every movie that you see, and then people around the world can check in on your thoughts about the movies and everything.
Video journal makes a lot more sense. I thought it was going to be like, dearest Hortensia.
Yeah.
I'm on film 7 in my sanity.
Well, and it's with a quill.
Right.
Well, they saw the lighthouse and they're like, it only makes sense.
Well, if you go out there, for the love of God, please leave the seagulls alone, especially if you see one with only one eye.
Yeah, clearly.
Albatross.
Wow. Damien Chazelle has a new movie coming out. What is this one? Huh?
Is it about jazz?
No.
Oh, hooray.
It's about the pre-code Hollywood transition from silent movies to talkies.
Oh, okay.
And it's apparently it's a period drama film called Babylon, starring Brad Pitt in the lead role, and it's a Paramount picture. And initially, I guess Emma Stone was supposed to be the leading lady, but she had to back out of that, and they've approached Margot Robbie. I'm not sure if she's taken the role or not, but that's where that is. But initially, the film had a release date of Christmas 2021, but it's been changed to December of 2022.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess if they're casting, I guess they're not even filming yet.
Yeah, it sounds like a trick and everything, trying to deal with that and COVID and
yeah.
Restrictions, and LA is getting shut down and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it makes it a little hard to get stuff done.
But yeah, Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, that's an interesting pairing.
Yeah.
I know they were both in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but do they have any scenes together?
Yeah, no, I don't think that
they do at the end of the driveway. When don't they? Just like one point when she's going out to her place and he's and Leonardo are going up to theirs. I can't remember. I feel like they did.
Okay. No, because at that point, Brad Pitt had been taken to the hospital.
Oh,
okay. I was thinking it was before.
All right, movie sleuths, let us know.
Yeah,
Hit us up on Discord. Let us know.
I'm really curious about this one. Damien Chazelle is a director who I've been kind of hot and cold with, though. So, I'm curious about this one. I think it's an interesting period in Hollywood. I think the cast sounds interesting. I hope I hope I like it. I hope it's La La Land just never quite hit it for me. I really wanted it to be a little more. I like the music and everything. The movie didn't work quite as well. But Whiplash, I love. I thought First Man was interesting, but I didn't care for it as much. But I guess we'll see. I'm curious.
I think the only film of his that I've seen has been Whiplash, but that is one of my favorite films.
I'm the same way. Like I saw La La Land and I enjoyed it, but it was, I don't know, sort of cotton candy. I never think about it. It's like it just passed through and it never did make any impact on me. Either I liked everybody in it. And I have not seen Whiplash, which I guess I might get banned from the podcast for admitting that. But
go now.
Well, last but not least with our news, Ray, you've got a new show coming out this week, huh?
Yes.
Well, that's exciting. So what is this, and when is it? When can people hear it?
Ocean Murph of Satmat fame and I have gotten together, and there's this concept where there are plenty of films that you might call a guilty pleasure. And what is a guilty pleasure? It's a movie that you kind of are hesitant to admit that you like it because it's not very well liked by others, whether it's critically or your friends, audiences, what have you. So we're doing a show called Silver Linings, which looks at quote unquote bad movies and looks at the redeeming qualities of those films and hopefully helps the listener look at it through rose tinted glasses. But so we're doing our first episode actually goes public on the 15th of January. But if you're a member of the Next Reel, you actually get early access to it yesterday, the 8th of January. Ooh. And the first episode is on the John Carpenter movie Escape from L.A.
Yes. Love that movie.
Really? Hey, you got a built-in fan right here, Ray.
Exactly. I said two of my favorite people doing a show, a concept I love, about a movie I also love. Did you make this just for me, and you're just sharing it with other people?
Actually, we did find your diary, and we thought, this is what we need to do.
Bruce Campbell's finest cameos.
Right?
What are some of the other movies you're going to be talking about? Do you have a few others that are on the list? Yeah.
Okay, well, I will tell you a couple. We're looking at Escape from LA. We're also looking at the 2019 film Brightburn.
Oh, interesting.
Which got some pretty mixed to low reviews. Mm-hmm. The 2010 remake of The Wolfman.
Ooh. Benicio del Toro.
Right. And then Swordfish.
Oh, Swordfish. Wow. So
those will be our first 4 episodes.
Ball bearings, baby.
And it'll be a monthly episode. So
yeah, I feel like Halle Berry was used for one particular purpose in that particular movie. Let's just
say. Wit.
Oh, wow. Well, I can't wait to listen. Everybody, check it out. It's going to be another show, part of the Next Reel family, so it should be a fun one to listen to. And
will that be on the regular Next Reel feed?
Yeah, I believe it'll be in the master feed, yeah.
Or the master feed?
Should pop up in the master feed.
And, I need to subscribe separately.
Well, I don't know if people know this. We have a master feed, but we have also split out all of the shows into their own feeds. So as long as the show's had, X number of episodes, you can actually just jump in. And if you want all the Film Board episodes in a handy, easy to listen to place, you can just get all the Film Board episodes or the main show or the speakeasies, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a thing.
I want the MMM.
That is a thing already. Speaking of, we should be having a season 3 starting soon. I don't know if we have any news on that, but right, Kyle? It is starting soon.
Oh, yes. Marvel Movie Minute Season 3 is well into production, and we will be dropping this episode soon. Additionally, I can say one fun thing that we're adding this season is that we will be doing a weekly recap video show.
Ooh.
So for those of you, it will be totally different content. So like if you listen to the show, to both things, you can do it. But if you are too busy to listen to a movie minute-by-minute podcast, we'll be recapping that and also talking about whatever Marvel news happens to have come along at the moment, and we're hoping to have it come out about the same time as a particular Marvel show that will be dropping very
Excellent.
soon. So
That's hot.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
very much looking forward to that. It'll be a fun one to hear you two fight about. Put the dukes up for Iron Man 2. Excellent.
that's right.
All right, well, let's talk trailers. Let's keep this thing moving along. I got in there first, and I went with an interesting pandemic movie that I didn't realize that they were making, but a lot of big names behind it. Doug Liman directing it. Stephen Knight wrote it, and it stars Anne Hathaway, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Stephen Merchant, Mindy Kaling, Lucy Boynton, Ben Stiller, Ben Kingsley, Dulé Hill, Jasmine Simon. A lot of really interesting people in a heist comedy called Locked Down.
Hi, Paxton. We heard London's in total lockdown.
We are all locked in this psychological prison of burning aloneness.
How's Linda?
She's somewhere in the house.
Is there some type of issue?
We are fine.
Not only is everything not okay, nothing is okay.
Linda said she was planning to end our thing.
Nobody wants to live alone.
For 2 weeks, we are locked together here.
You know, you think I'm so happy and normal.
No, I'd never accuse you of being happy and normal.
Because I'm not!
Shaky ground.
I've been furloughed. Now there is literally zero purpose to my life. I'm going to get provisions.
We need milk, bread.
Boy, how many asses have you got? Piss off.
The nice people that I fired, they were fired because of me. It's not about the virus, it's about who I am and what I do for a living.
You fired them well.
Thank you.
Is that a glass of wine?
Yes, yeah, it is.
We have a situation, Paxton. All the major department stores are closing. They want everything out in the next 4 days.
We have a problem. At Harrods, we have $4 million worth of jewelry. Someone's gonna have to pack the valuables up.
I believe you're a man who can be trusted.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I can be trusted.
It's gonna have to be someone that we trust, so that means inevitably it's gonna be me.
It's a new dawn.
What are you taking out of Harrods?
A diamond.
It's a new day.
Since lockdown, I'm looking back at myself like that was then, and this is now.
Yeah.
The bastards who told me to fire those people, they are bad. You and I are good, and good is better than bad.
You were talking about stealing a diamond. £3 million. Live wild or die, Linda.
And I'm feeling good.
This trailer started, and at first I was just like, okay, I feel like this is just going to be a drama, or maybe a drama comedy about a relationship falling apart during a pandemic, because that's certainly what it seems like with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Anne Hathaway as the couple, as he's talking to friends, and they film it. It seems like a really smartly told story, like a lot of conversations told through Zoom or Skype or different things like that with people, as Chiwetel's trying to figure out how to deal with his wife, who clearly can't handle the pandemic. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, this opportunity comes up where her company hires her to basically hire this kind of getting all of the jewelry out of Harrods because of the pandemic and everything. They need to kind of clear the store out. And so the two of them decide they're going to, you know what, let's just steal some of the jewelry while we're at it. And it turns into this crazy heist comedy where he ends up with the name Edgar Allan Poe as a code name and all sorts of insanity. I was laughing so hard during this trailer. I was thrilled to see them doing something really interesting that looks like a fun way. I know I can't remember if it was one of you or somebody had picked a pandemic trailer that was coming out that really didn't look very fun at all. And this one actually is like, okay, they're doing a pandemic story in a fun and interesting way that I can totally get behind. I had such a great time watching this trailer. What did you two think?
I remember I think you're talking about Songbird, and I think that was Tommy that picked it. I think he picked it specifically because of how bad it looked.
And what a terrible idea.
And I had the same reaction to this one.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was a terrible idea, and it looks like a terrible movie. No offense to anyone who was involved, but I was like, this is the wrong movie at the wrong time. I do not want to see it. But then you get yours, and I had the same worry, and then I went through the same journey as you did. I'm like, oh, okay, relationships, okay, all right, fine. And then they let a heist. I'm like, and now I'm intrigued. And so it's like, then the more names started coming up, it was like, I like all of these people. I like all these filmmakers. Like, it turns out this beautiful gift has been delivered. I didn't even know this movie existed, and now it's coming out in like a week.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
And I'm on that service too. I was like, well, thank you, 2021.
Well, I think it looks interesting, and I think particularly for the time that we're living in now. But my only worry, and it's kind of a big one for me, is that once we find our way out of this pandemic, I feel like this movie is going to feel really dated. I don't know. I just get this feeling like it won't hold up. Maybe it's probably just me because I suck at being able to foretell how a movie is going to be.
Yeah, it's something to be said deliberately taking place during a pandemic. Like they're wearing masks, all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, give it 5 years, people might say, oh, I don't want to see anything having to do with the pandemic anymore. I mean, it may be too timely. I guess we'll see. I mean, it's all been done within the last 6 months. I mean, they just announced it in September, and then I think started filming in October, and we're just kind of the whole thing happened very quickly. Just trying to crank something creative out of this whole mess. So I'm excited. It's going to be hitting HBO Max, as Kyle alluded to, January 14th. So if you want to see it, you'll have to hop onto HBO Max to check it out then.
And did they give Chiwetel Ejiofor a receding hairline? Like, that was like the biggest visual effect of that movie. I thought, like, he doesn't have receding hairline, but I think that they designed his hair to be
I don't know. I honestly didn't. I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at his facial hair, and I was like, I'm not used to hearing him speak his real accent and everything. It was like all these other things that were crossing my mind as I was looking at him. But Kyle, we all do age. It's entirely possible he's losing some hair.
It's true. It's possible. I mean, But I'm just curious. I wonder if it's one of those character actor choices where they're just like, I'm going to make an extreme choice.
Well, it's one of those things where as I was looking at it, I'm like, I wonder if all the actors, like if they're having them do their own makeup for it, like because there were times, especially at the beginning when it was just Chiwetel and Anne in their house and stuff. I'm like, they look kind of like they do, like when you see them on Zoom interviews, like they don't look completely put together. So I was like, maybe this is one of those movies. But then by the time they're in the heist, they look like, makeup trailers and all that sort of thing. So who knows? All right, Ray, let's talk about your trailer. What did you bring to the table?
My movie is called Savage State. It's actually a French film that looks like it's been making the festival circuit, and the movie is about it takes place during the American Civil War, and it's about a family of French settlers who live in Missouri, and whenever the war breaks out, they decide to flee and go back to Paris. And so there's the father, the wife, their maid, and 3 daughters, and basically there's a former mercenary who's escorting them, I guess, and there's a relationship between him and the youngest daughter, and it's threatening to basically disband the group.
They said this war would be over in the blink of an eye.
What do we do when this war is over?
Like everyone else. You jump on the bandwagon.
It's a mobile battalion.
Considérez que les nordistes ont déjà gagné cette guerre. Tout ce que vous avez ici, vous allez le perdre.
Who are you?
Victor Lutt. Your father knows who I am.
5 fois cette somme, si vous nous guidez jusqu'au prochain bateau pour la France.
Come along this side. Slowly, don't look down.
Je te tiens.
I'm the one who decides what's right or wrong around here.
We'll soon be moving into Yankee territory.
Il y avait une femme là-bas.
Where?
By the river. She looked deranged.
Saddle horses.
It looks exciting. I think it has a very interesting feel to it. It feels a little, I don't know if gritty is the right word I'm looking for, but it looks, oh man, it reminded me of some of the scenes in the movie Lincoln. Whenever you see the effects of the war going on, it reminded me of that a little bit. It just feels like it could be really good. And looks like it's going to be available to us on Apple TV on January 29th.
What I find interesting is that here we are getting an American Western directed by a Frenchman, kind of telling a story about kind of this French family dealing with these settlers from France, and it's like a different perspective for a Western. And I don't know, color me intrigued. I'm always curious to learn more about this sort of thing. I find this to be an interesting perspective to take for a Western. I think in context of the story, it looked like there are some elements that I'm like, I'm not so sure about, like this mysterious, ex-girlfriend who's after them and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know where that's going to go. But just the idea of a French filmmaker making an American Western about these French colonists, I find to be pretty interesting.
I agree with all that. I'm interested to see. I thought when it started, it was going to be another, I'm like, oh, this is like a character piece meditation on Western stuff. I'm like, okay. And then at the end, then all of a sudden the guns came out, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's actually like a full-on Western. Because when they get to the end, it looks like probably the last reel will be, a standoff at the house where they have to fight off against these, the Hell Hath No Fury woman. So yeah, it's interesting to see, like like you were saying, a sort of traditional American format done from a very, very different perspective. So yeah. It was a good find, Ray.
It initially came out in France almost a year ago, in February of 2020. And on IMDb at this moment, it has a 5 out of 10. And the one prominent user review is like one sentence, and it says, "This is a really stupid film which gets more and more absurd as it goes on, but we had a laugh at its expense."
Have you been trolling us this whole time, Ray?
Either way, whether it's good or bad, it could be good.
Because unless it gets one more point, Andy's never going to watch it.
All right, Kyle, what's your pick?
Mine suddenly appeared magically as I needed it, and it's called Outside the Wire.
Sir, looking for Captain Leo.
You must have really messed up if they sent you to Leo.
Do you know why you're here?
Yeah, because I broke chain of command.
Harp, he's not like us.
You're up. You're commanding officer, and I'm gonna give you 60 seconds to deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
What are you, AI?
A Gump's AI. I'm a prototype, and my existence is classified. But I can't do this alone. I need someone who can think outside the box. That's why you're here. I chose you. You got a picture of her?
I'm not even having this conversation.
Hey, it's fair game, rookie. She's a hottie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, my gummy bear? Oh, my gummy bear. Please, tell me what you know.
In front of him?
You can trust him.
These are your informants?
Listen, I'm a combat soldier, but I feel more than you think. I can't do this with eyes on me.
They put your tracker in your back?
Sometimes you gotta get dirty to see any real change. Welcome to the war, kid.
One interesting side effect of Netflix just spending cash like crazy is it's brought back one of my favorite things, which is the mid-budget action movie. Like, they've been gone for so long, and now Netflix has sort of revived it. You have, like, Triple Frontier and Extraction. Like, you have these sort of just, you take a star and an action premise and go. And so for this one, we have a bit of more of a sci-fi element. We have Anthony Mackie. He is revealed in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler. He is an android. So you have a sort of future war thing going on with drones and robot soldiers, and then he is a different kind of robot soldier, and so you have the young rookie and the robotic veteran who sort of team up to go, and then it goes along. It seems to be there's some military intrigue going on that he's pursuing some secret agenda that they're not really sure about. So it comes out on January 15th, and I'm interested to see anything that Anthony Mackie's in. So what'd you guys think?
I thought it looked really interesting, but it really, really caught me off guard whenever all of a sudden it veers into sci-fi territory. Because I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a really cool, military drama with the prominently African-American cast. And it looks
like
really
a military
good.
training day.
Right.
That's how it starts out.
And then he walks in on him and he's like half holographic. And I'm like, what? But it looks really cool. I had no idea that this was coming. And now that you've shared this trailer, I am really excited to give this a watch.
I had seen, I don't know if it's on IMDb or some film site where like they showed some images, like they'll have like an image, like a rotation of images popping up for new projects that have just been announced or coming, etc. And I saw some images from this and I'm like, that looks kind of interesting. I hadn't heard anything about that, but I didn't look any further until you posted this trailer. And I'm like, oh, this was that thing that looked really interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see this one and see what they do with it. I love watching Anthony Mackie. I just think he's always a delight on screen in any whatever it is, and I think that he's great. The premise looks pretty interesting. I hope it can turn into a stronger story than stuff like Extraction, because a lot of those that tends to be the problem with I think a lot of these middle budget action films is it does what it needs to do action wise, but the story tends to be a little lacking. So I hope that the story's there, because the trailer has an interesting thing going for it. And I feel like, okay, this could actually go down a really interesting road that I find really successful. So yeah, I'm very curious about this one.
So that comes to Netflix on January 15th. So once you're done watching the first episode of WandaVision, you can flip over to Netflix and watch this.
Excellent. All right. Well, gents, we are going to do a little bit of IMDB game today for a little bit, huh? So, the IMDB game. IMDB is anyone who has looked at their site on any person on their site. It has a little known for section that lists 4 films that they say that particular person is known for. Strange algorithms, though, lead things to pop up on that known for list that people go, is that really what they're known for? Always curious to find out what IMDb has on that list. So we're going to do the IMDb game. We each brought 2 actors or actresses, and we're going to bring them to the others to see how everyone fares with this thing. So who wants to kick us off?
Oh, I'll go. In honor of WandaVision coming up, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at Paul Bettany.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Paul
this is IMDb is collaborative, right? So it's Andy and I together.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, I feel like A Beautiful Mind is probably in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was my first thought, too. Beautiful Mind has to be on there.
Okay.
What do you think about what's the Russell Crowe ocean-faring movie?
Oh, Master and Commander.
Master and Commander. Do you think that that one's on there?
That's interesting.
That seems like that.
Do you think our Marvel movie is going to be up there? What do you think Infinity War is going to be there? Because
there has to be a Marvel movie.
Is it that, or do you think, or Civil War? I mean, he showed up in Age of Ultron, but it's not going to be Age of Ultron.
I don't know. Age of Ultron seems pretty possible.
I think if it's by ratings, then I think that Infinity War is going to have a higher rating. But I once again, the mysterious algorithm of IMDb.
I know, but because a lot of times it is that first appearance. So it does make me think that Age of Ultron might have a leg up over the other ones, because that was where he first appeared as that character. But that it does make me question: are there going to be multiple Marvel movies on here?
I mean, can we ask if they are films or a TV project?
Yeah, like as in, is WandaVision on there?
I will tell you, in this case, they are all films.
He also did that movie Creation that was about Darwin.
He also played an angel in Legion, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He's a busy boy. He is a busy boy. All right.
Okay, so Beautiful Mind, yes.
Yes.
Master and Commander, I will say yes as well. I still think it's going to be Infinity War over Age of Ultron.
I think it's going to be Ultron.
You think it's going to be Ultron?
I think it's going to be Ultron. It's the first.
It's going to be death, not birth. Death, not birth. People love a good death.
Well, I mean, okay, we can put it on there, but then it's your fault if we don't get the point for it.
It would be
so you want to put Infinity War?
I don't know. I feel like this is going to be another.
I say we throw Creation on there.
Serious acting film. You think Creation?
It's a weird one.
Wait. Hold on. Knight's Tale? Was he in Knight's Tale?
He was in Knight's Tale. He was.
That was a very popular movie too.
Squire?
The Scribe, whatever. I was like, was it Shakespeare in Love? No, it was Knight's Tale.
It was a Knight's Tale.
The same within you.
Oh, now that you say that, you throw that in the mix,
right? I think that's that's where I think the fourth slot is Knight's Tale. Okay, you give me Knight's Tale, I'll give you.
Okay, there you go. Knight's Tale and Ultron. All right, Ray. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with Beautiful Mind, Master and Commander, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and A Knight's Tale.
You guys are 3 for 4.
Ooh.
And you messed up on the Marvel movie. There is no Marvel movie.
Oh, there's no Marvel movie. Oh,
is it Creation?
It is Margin Call.
Oh,
Margin Call.
I don't even know what that is.
That's one of those movies that has every actor. It's another Kevin Bacon game type of movie because like everyone is in it. I forgot he was in
Ross
it.
Kind of thing. I say, but 3 out of 4, man, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's a good
Zoom
start.
5, man.
All right, what's next? Kyle, why don't you take us away with your first one?
Sure. So I'm doing a 90s power couple.
Oh wow. Okay.
So are you doing one person at a time?
Yeah, do one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the male half of this power couple is Batman himself, Mr. Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Okay.
So what are the things? And I will tell you, they are 4 films.
They're 4 films, and he's
done a lot of television.
Well, he's a director and an actor, so it's also possible that some of the stuff he's directed is on there.
Okay,
you are correct. That is impossible.
I gotta say, I think that 2 for sure picks would be Gone Girl and Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, I feel, is a given because of the Oscar and everything with that one. Gone Girl, I think, is a pretty strong possibility. I don't know. I don't know. But because he was in a good number of Kevin Smith's movies, it makes me wonder if there's a Kevin Smith movie on there. Like, what was the one where he and Matt Damon were the angels? Dogma? Something like Dogma. Or the one where he had the kid with J-Lo.
Jersey Girl.
Highly underrated movie.
Now, what are the chances that there's a Batman movie on there?
Well, they're recent, but I feel we don't have anything on there that he's directed. So I feel like we need to put on something like Gone Baby Gone. No, it'd probably be The Town, or actually it'd probably be Argo.
Oh, Argo. I would definitely go with Argo.
Yeah, Argo, maybe Argo and The Town, because he also stars in that one. Yeah, he's been in so many things. Do you want to throw a Batman movie on there?
Actually, I'm fine without it. I think Argo, Good Will Hunting are 2 that should stay. I think I'm okay with staying with The Town as well.
Okay.
What do you think we should do for the 4th one?
I mean, Gone Girl, but then I feel like they're all really obvious ones. Like we don't have that kind of obscure.
Mallrats.
Could do something like Mallrats.
Volkswagen.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like Dogma for some reason, but we could do Mallrats. I don't know. Let's do Dogma. I feel like Dogma.
Okay, so tell me your 4.
Good Will Hunting, Argo, The Town, and Dogma.
You should have gone with your first instincts because you did 3 for 4. You had Argo, The Town, and Good Will Hunting, but you eliminated Gone Girl too soon.
Oh,
I had it. I was like, oh man! I'm like,
that
for
was
a while,
me.
I'm like, does Ray have this up in front of him? Because like you're doing you named all 4 in the order they were on the site. I was like, oh my god!
I promise I don't have it up.
I was just convinced that they were all
mainstream.
That
popular.
there needed to be that weird IMDb twist in there. So, oh well. All right, gents, you ready for my first pick?
Do it.
So I'm looking at somebody from a recent movie that we just talked about on the film board. We're looking at Pedro Pascal.
Ooh.
The hardest working man in Hollywood right now.
Seems to be. Geez. Yeah, I just thought, he was in Robert Rodriguez's new movie on IMDb, which, don't worry, is not one of the top 4 here.
But we can be heroes. Just for
we sure can be. All right, so what do you two think?
Well, if they do television shows, I would think that The Mandalorian would have to be a given.
TV does pop up.
Okay, so just for pop culture thing, would Wonder Woman 1984 because it's current?
Yeah, I would go with that one.
Okay.
But quite frankly, I'm not that familiar with much more of his filmography.
I will say Kingsman Golden Circle.
That sounds like a good one.
That was the first time I sort of like went, ooh, who's this guy? And then I'm sure it's going to be something like actory, we can be heroes and sort of like fun and exciting. This will be like.
I'll tell you, you two have at least heard of. I'm sure you've heard of all 4, but you've probably seen at least 3 of them, if not. At least you know about those 3 in more detail, like other things from them.
We got Mandalorian,
Wonder Woman,
Kingsman Golden Circle, and Wonder Woman 1984. Or is it just Wonder Woman 84, I guess.
So we just need one more.
I know he's done other stuff with Robert Rodriguez before. We'll say Once Upon a Time in Mexico because everybody was in that one.
Was he in it?
I have no idea. But like there's so many people in that movie, I would be surprised if he's in there somewhere.
Let's just say it.
So, Mandalorian, Kingsman Golden Circle, Wonder Woman 1984, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which is probably completely wrong.
All right. Well, you got 50%. You did 50%. The Mandalorian, absolutely. That's in the first spot. Yep. Game of Thrones, number 2. He plays Oberyn Martell. You asked me if I had TV, and I didn't tell you how many.
Yes, you didn't. You did not.
He does pop up in Game of Thrones. Kingsman: The Golden Circle is number 3. And the big surprise that everybody forgot about was Zhang Yimou's The Great Wall with Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal helping the people fight the monsters on the other side of the wall. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not have known he was in that,
Game
except
of Thrones.
that we covered that on the
man.
show. So.
It's the worst part about this. I haven't gotten this part in the book yet, but I'm actually reading the Making of Game of Thrones book right now. So like Game of Thrones is in my brain currently.
Yep. So
it says Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good because it's like the journalist was there from like season 1, so he like gets a lot of dirt.
Nice. Oh, cool. Very cool. All right, Ray, number 2 for you.
Okay, so this was an actor that Andy and Pete actually did a series on the main show Once Upon a Time. Let's take a look at Eddie Murphy.
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop has to be on there. And I feel like Coming to America has to be on there.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Trading Places?
That seems like it would be a good one.
But, weirdly, what's coming to mind would be, like, Dreamgirls. Like, he got so close to an Oscar on that. I kind of feel like that might be. But is it just by popularity?
Well, that's the thing, right?
Is Shrek going to be on there?
Yeah, and I mean, geez, it could be something crazy like The Golden Child.
Yes. I want the knife. Yes.
The dancing, was it Pepsi can?
Ooh, put that on the Silver Linings. I'm gonna fill out your whole season by the time of this episode.
That's right. Okay, so Beverly Hills Cop. Let's do Beverly Hills Cop, Trading Places, Coming to America. I think those 3 are good ones to throw on there. And then
I think Shrek.
You think Shrek over Dreamgirls? Because I was going to say, and I think Dreamgirls. Okay, yeah, let's do Shrek then. All right, that's it.
There's our 4.
What do you think, Ray?
All right, you guys got 1.
Oh,
what?
You guys got 1, and that was Coming to America.
Wow.
Dreamgirls.
Oh, man. I should have gone with my first instinct.
Yep.
The Nutty Professor.
Oh,
what?
Wow.
And Harlem Nights.
Oh,
Wow. What?
I would have. Wow. Okay.
So peculiar. Oh,
Right?
Geez.
Okay. I guess. Wow. Yeah. IMDb, man. You
Yep.
never fail to confuse.
Never know. I never know. All right, Kyle, what's your second one? You said it's a power couple.
Okay. Power couple. Is it J-Lo? No, it's Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, okay.
I would think Shakespeare in Love.
I feel like yes, absolutely. Would you say something like Sliding Doors?
Maybe.
Or what was the one, Emma? Was it Emma that
Emma,
she did?
I would
Where
definitely
she's
say Emma.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to, I don't know if she's big enough in the Iron Man. I just can't remember.
Iron Man 3, she had a significantly bigger role than usual.
She did. But then also there's something like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow,
right.
which she could pop up in.
What was that karaoke movie she did with Huey Lewis?
Yeah, it's Duet.
Yeah, that came up in our last, competition.
When I was doing the collaboration game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, duets. She could pop up in that. Okay, well, let's go with Emma, Shakespeare in Love. Oh, what about Seven? Do you think her part in Seven is big enough to warrant their known for list?
You know what?
I know. Exactly.
I would say, what? I think it's going to, I would go with 7.
Okay, so then we're Emma, Shakespeare in Love, 7, Iron Man 3. Do you want to do that?
Shakespeare in Love, Emma, 7, and Iron Man 3.
Oh, once again, you had it and you let it go. So you got 3 out of 4. So Shakespeare in Love, Emma, Iron Man 3, good job, and Sliding Doors.
Ooh. Oh, man.
You mentioned it, you had it, and then you let it
that one on there.
Sorry, Andy.
Man, I know. What are you going to do? All right. Okay, last round. I'm jumping back again to Wonder Woman 1984, and this time I'm bringing up Kristen Wiig.
Oh.
Kristen Wiig.
Oh. Okay. So, Bridesmaids.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, answer the call. Wonder Woman 1984? Like, we got burned on that last time.
Hey, let's second shot, man. Second shot.
Right? And I would say Skeleton Twins.
Oh, yes. Let's go with those 4. Bridesmaids, Ghostbusters, Wonder Woman, and Skeleton Twins.
Well, once again, you're at 50%.
Oh, okay.
So Bridesmaids, yes, absolutely. The Skeleton Twins, good call on that one.
Nice.
Then you missed The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is a fantastic film.
I forgot she was in that movie.
It is a great movie. And Zoolander 2.
Oh, God. Andy, don't do that to me. Knife to the heart.
Yes. Alexandria Atos. So,
well, there it is.
There you go.
Is there PTSD for movies? Because I feel like I have that for Zoolander 2.
I have that for the first Zoolander.
Some movies you enjoy, some movies you endure, and some movies are a battle.
So true. So true. All right. Well, that was a fun round of the IMDb game. And I guess that means it's time for the list. That's right. Over in our Discord Show Talk channel, we posted a list last week listing some options related to the movie that we released this week, the first in our Soviet science fiction series, Dead Mountaineers Hotel. And we ended up with a tie, which was always fun to see. The options that were picked were Other Beings Disguised as Humans, Mountain Hotels, and Movie Avalanches. And we tied Other Beings Disguised as Humans and Mountain Hotels. We decided, let's just talk about Other Beings Disguised as Humans, but let's each bring a hotel movie too. So here we are. I get to kick us off since I got my trailer in there first. And I'm going to start with, what am I going to start with? In the context of Other Beings Disguised as Humans, I feel like, this is a pretty broad and big category, which I really like when we do because it gives us a lot of different interesting things to talk about. But I feel like I could not do this without bringing a replicant onto the list. So I had to add Blade Runner on there because it's hard to tell. Are you a human or are you not a human? They don't even know, for Pete's sake. So Blade Runner, the first on the list for me.
Okay, so Andy, you find a turtle.
It's on its back. Oh, excellent.
I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions and then we can move on.
Yes, right. All right, Ray.
All right, so this is a movie based on a book that I recently reread, so this was fresh in my memory for this list. So the main characters are kind of on a quest, and they go back to the main character's hometown, sort of, to visit an old family friend who's this old woman. And out of nowhere, the old woman's body kind of falls apart to reveal that it's been a snake hiding in her corpse, pretending to be the woman. It is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Whenever Harry and Hermione go to Godric's Hollow, and they come across the woman Bathilda Bagshot, who is dead, but Voldemort's snake has been hiding in her corpse, pretending to be her.
And of course, now we know that it was a woman who turned into a snake, who was then pretending to be a woman again. So
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, right.
That was a creepy scene.
Plot complication? Yes. Oh, sorry.
All right, Kyle, what's your first pick?
So my wife always enjoys this, and then when I say enjoys, I kind of put it in italics because she always gets annoyed that I don't pick her picks, because so she thought of one right off the bat when I said that I was doing this, and she's like, oh yeah, this movie, but that's too obvious, they'll do that, and I kind of went, no, that's brilliant. So it's rare that you have the third act spoil, a twist that a character you thought was alive is now dead, or whatever it was along the way. But it's very rare that you go through an entire movie and go, well, that's interesting, I guess the actor was playing the character a little bit differently, only to find out in the post-credit scene that it's a whole different character has been pretending to be that character. And of course, I'm talking about Nick Fury, who has been replaced by a Skrull.
Oh, good one.
Excellent. Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to come up. In the realm of other beings disguised as humans, I was thinking about how I could vary it up so it wasn't all aliens, because at first I started writing my list and I'm like, every single one of these is an alien. What else can I do? And so I started thinking of what other things I've seen in movies disguised as humans. And the second thing that I'm going to go with is a film where essentially a demon ends up disguised as human. And it is in a film based on a comic series that I really liked the movie. I haven't seen the TV series, but I just thought the movie worked really well, and Keanu Reeves was great in it. It is Constantine. And right toward the beginning of the film, we have this person digging in some ruins, and he finds this ancient weapon, and he gets hit by a car inhabited by the demon. And it was a thrilling way to kind of get things rolling with that film. And I just had a great time. I know a lot of people had issues with it, but I enjoyed Constantine. That's my second pick.
I really have to rewatch that.
That's a great one. Yeah, that movie is highly underrated. I think people are coming around to it now because there's a lot of Keanu hate at the time, and now that we sort of love Keanu again, people are revisiting it and going, "Oh wait, this was actually a really, really good movie."
Yeah, I think so.
Plus, Peter Stormare is so good. He's
right.
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz as the woman.
Rachel Weisz.
Great movie.
When has Rachel Weisz ever been bad?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
come
true,
on.
So true. All right, Ray, number 2.
All right, well, I did what Andy did. I tried to vary mine up so that it wasn't the same being each time being disguised as a human. So my first one was a snake. My next one, imagine there's this government employee. He's on his way to work. He's a bit of a womanizer. He picks up this random woman, thinks she's sexy, takes her to a secret room only to discover that she's an alien. She bites off his finger and attempts to kill the president, and Mars attacks.
Nice.
That's really funny because the way that you were talking, I'm like, oh my God, he stole mine. And then I was like, oh, he totally didn't. But wow, okay, interesting.
See now, okay, so I think I know what one of yours is then, but I don't have it on my list, so I'm not gonna. I was about to say, that sounded like it was. I'm not. I won't give it away.
All right, Kyle.
So it's interesting. This actor was actually already mentioned previously, out of the blue. It's on a show like this. We always talk about the greats of cinema, and you have these epic Oscar-nominated things. And then there's these other movies that don't get mentioned anymore. So What's better than having one Eddie Murphy in your movie? How about a small Eddie Murphy inside a giant Eddie Murphy? So from 2008, it's Meet Dave.
Wow.
Which, if you don't remember, was nominated for 2 Razzie Awards, Worst Actor for Eddie Murphy and Worst Screen Couple for Eddie Murphy in Eddie Murphy.
That's what I'm glad that I never saw. It just never...
I never saw that one either.
Hey, Kevin Hart is in that movie.
I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, yeah, that's one I just never need to go.
It's so weird. For you guys who are fans of Mystery Science Theater 3000, Bill Corbett actually wrote the original screenplay for what was called Starship Dave, and then it suddenly became an Eddie Murphy movie, and everything changed.
It's amazing how movies can get destroyed because of somebody who signs on.
Exactly.
All right, Meet Dave. That was your second pick. I'm going to my final round now, and this was a film that it was a science fiction film that kind of was haunting in the way that it was told. Jonathan Glazer directed this in 2013 about a woman who gets picked up. It starts off with her getting, or she's actually found by a motorcyclist. She's kind of laying there and takes her and everything, and she basically takes her back to this house and undresses, and they follow her, but then end up falling into this like black liquid, and it is such a creepy film. Scarlett Johansson is the lead. She is the alien disguised as a human. It is Under the Skin. Really incredible and just very compelling science fiction film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I'm not selling it well enough, but Under the Skin, that is my final pick.
Nice.
Have either of you seen this one?
No.
No, I'm aware of it, but I haven't seen it. I guess that would, if you do a series about vans, I think that would be in there, right?
I'm sure it would have to be, yes. Yeah. All right.
All right. I cannot tell you how excited I am for my final pick, because ever since the SatMat expanded to more hosts and we joined, I have been looking for an opportunity to include this movie. It is one of the worst movies ever, but it was the most successful made-for-TV movie from 1978. Fun fact. So this movie is about a theme park, and there's the guy played by Anthony Zerbe, who is the head technician who designs the attractions and the rides, who gets fired, and he wants revenge on the park, particularly because, not just because they fired him, but because they have hired the band Kiss to come in and play a show. The movie I'm talking about is Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Anthony Zerbe creates these robot versions of Kiss to take their place and zombify the crowd into attacking the theme park.
Nice. Isn't Paul Williams?
I don't remember.
Wow. He's in Phantom Paradise.
Oh, maybe I was thinking.
That's really funny. I've never even heard of that.
It is one of the worst movies ever made, but it is so fun to watch.
Halfway through your description, I'm like, isn't this a Scooby-Doo episode?
Funny enough, I think that was made by Hanna-Barbera.
That is crazy. So crazy. All right. Well, it's officially now in the record as having been picked for the SatMat list. Very funny. All right, Kyle, finish us off. What's your final pick?
So my pick is also not Aliens. So this is interesting. So I've not seen this movie since I was a child because it terrorized me so much as a child. I have not been able to watch it again. So this was in the era where sort of you had some horror elements and you had some boys on bikes genre thing. So it's sort of like the intersection of like Monster Squad and Goonies and E.T. and Poltergeist. And it created this terrible but terrifying little film called The Gate from 1987. It's a typical thing of like the teenager, is babysitting, and so the parents leave, and then throws a rager party, and then they, of course, like you do in the 80s, you read demonic incantations and open a portal to hell. And so it was. I mean, it was. You look at it now, and it's a little bit cheesy. They did a lot of like the special effects were in claymation and stuff too. So like you have like these weird claymation things running around and monster stuff too. But the one the moment that scared me and like still like terrified me, I had nightmares about, was at one point they have sort of think they've beaten the monsters, and they see out front that their parents have come home, and so the young kid goes running out, and he's like, Dad, and so the dad reaches out and puts his hand on his shoulder and goes, "You've been bad." And he looks up, it turns out it's a demon pretending to be his father. And it's like that, whatever, is like stuck into my 10-year-old head at the time, and I was like, ah! Like your parents could turn into monsters at any moment. And yeah, I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, oh,
it's good. I've rewatched it somewhat in like the last 10 years or so. I thought it held up really well. I had a great time with it. It's Tibor Tikox or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I watched the trailer again, and it was like traumatic flashback.
Yeah, it's I loved that movie. I saw it in the theaters when I was a kid. I had so much fun with it, and I rented it again because I'm like, I wonder how this holds up. And I'm like, wow, it actually worked. Like when he gets the eyeball in his hand, and then he has to like stab himself in the hand to stab the eyeball and stuff. Oh yeah, creepy stuff. I loved it. Great final pick, The Gate. All right, so that is it for the list. Good round of movies, gents. Some great things on there, and some stuff.
When you were Ray, when you were describing your second pick or whatever, I thought you were talking about Species.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, and then when Andy said, oh, that sounds like somebody, I'm like, oh, Andy picked Species, and nobody's picked Species.
That would have been a good one.
I know. I was like, now I'm thinking like that would have been good.
What other backup? Speaking of Species, did you have anything else?
I had The Faculty.
Okay.
Which was one of Jon Stewart's finest acting performances.
The only backup I had was Westworld, or its sequel, Future World.
Yeah, right. Good. That's a good one. I had a huge list that I just kept writing stuff. Men in Black, specifically the third one, because I really liked the third one. My Stepmother is an Alien, which I haven't seen since I was a kid. But
it's right
that one
totally.
Yeah, right, exactly. And What Planet Are You From? Gary Shandling in his nonsensical Alien movie that he filmed here in Phoenix. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, of course. They Live, The Thing, The Witches, Brother from Another Planet, Starman, Superman, Wonder Woman. With Mars, as he's disguised as the guy. And then...
Oh, I thought you were going to say Wonder Woman, like she's pretending to be...
No, it's Mars, yeah. Mars was in that one. And The Terminator, and of course, Mimic, with the giant, creepy cockroaches disguising as humans in the subway.
I thought of that one too, but I thought that it was like I didn't know if it was like from outside, supposed to be from outside or whatever, because those were like bugs pretending to be people. I didn't know if that would count.
It's another being disguised as a human, I guess. So sure, why not? All right, well, that's it for that one. Now let's jump into some hotels, some mountain hotels, guys. I for my first mountain hotel, well, we're only doing one each, but so I came up with, this was the first thing that came to my mind. And it was a really interesting Spanish film that I believe is still on Netflix. It's called The Invisible Guest, or Contratiempo. And it is a mystery film, and it's set up in a really interesting way about this this guy who wakes up in a room. It's locked, all the windows. It's the wintertime in this mountain hotel, and I found it. It's called the Hotel Val de Nuria, way up in the mountains in the Pyrenees, in the northeast corner of Spain, practically on the border of France. A beautiful, beautiful location where this hotel was. But he wakes up in this room. It's winter, and in the wintertime, they lock the windows and take all the handles off, so people can't open them. And his lover is found dead in the bathtub, and he is the obvious suspect because he's unconscious. But because of this whole situation, it turns into this murder mystery because he says, I didn't do it. And so it's the mystery of, well, how did this happen? So really, really interesting film, worth checking out. It's called The Invisible Guest.
Very interesting.
All right, Ray, Mountain Hotel.
So this one was really hard for me, but I finally thought of one. So I'm glad this isn't a full list. And we were talking about the Criterion Collection earlier. This is, I think, the third film that they ever released. And it is the 1938 Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Lady Vanishes. And if you're unfamiliar with the movie, it's, this group of people headed for England get stranded because of an avalanche, and they hole up in a hotel in this fictional country, and it's a mountain hotel. And then this young girl befriends this old woman, and then they all get on a train to head back to England, and she discovers that the old lady isn't on the train, and that everyone seems to think that the old woman never existed, and it's kind of messed up. And
strong. Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, it's the bulk of it's on the train, but yeah, it's a great little hotel, great little set hotel that they have there. Kyle, Mountain Hotel.
All right, so mine has a pretty powerhouse cast, especially for the 70s. We've got Robert Forster, we've got Mia Farrow, and we've got the late, great Rock Hudson. This is from 1978. And as I this is the first one that occurred to me as well. And I thought, what interesting about this is not only does it honor that pick, but it honors the pick that wasn't chosen too, because it's a little film called Avalanche.
Hey.
And I only became aware of it because it was on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Nice.
So you can check it out and listen to the bots have a good time making fun of this terrible movie on the return, the first season on Netflix.
Oh, that's funny. That is really funny. It was prime time for all those 70s disaster films. So of course it
Towering
fits.
Inferno.
Exactly.
Fits
right in. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, there's the mountain hotels. I had a few other backups. One is technically it's a clinical allergy institute on the top, but it's on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that fantastic place where where Bond goes to fight Blofeld up there. And last but not least, I was like, Hot Tub Time Machine, of course, because they're at this mountain hotel at the ski resort, and they take this magic hot tub and go back in time. So there it is.
Was because here it comes again. The Kingsman Golden Circle, was that it was a research lab, or was it a hotel as well? That in the mountains where they had the gondola thing.
There, gosh, I can't remember now. Yeah.
You know, I just thought of two more movies.
See, they just start coming. Yeah.
The Shining and Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or Ski Patrol. I mean, that would really be the third part of that trilogy.
Right. What was that John Cusack movie where he's skiing?
Better Off Dead?
Yeah, I feel like it is. Yeah. So there you go. There's so many. Once you jump into the
summer, so
yeah, once you go into into anything relating to skiing and ski resorts and stuff, inevitably there's probably
Out
a mountain
Cold.
hotel.
That was the Zach Galifianakis one, I think.
All right. Well, so next week we're going to be talking about the second film in our Soviet science fiction film series. It is called To the Stars by Hard Ways, or Per Aspera ad Astra, as the Latin expression goes. This is a 1981 film directed by Richard Viktorov, and it is definitely more like aliens coming down and going up to space and all that sort of thing. The story, I'm guessing neither of you have seen it, is about a ship. They find a derelict vessel, basically, that's full of a bunch of dead clones because the side of the ship blew out, except one is alive because she happened to be in a spacesuit, and they bring her back to Earth and kind of teach her Earth ways and all that sort of stuff, even though she still has like these all sorts of crazy powers. And then she sees the ambassador of her planet, and they decide to go back to her planet to stop a villain who's kind of destroying it. So that's it's a wacky movie. In fact, speaking of Mystery Science Theater 3000, they did one of the cuts of this film they actually used on their show. I think it was called like Asteroid Girl or Meteor Girl or something like that. But okay. So we have a few options. Anything strike your fancy? We've got aliens learning to be human, telekinesis, don't fall into that liquid, rescuing one survivor from a derelict spacecraft or vehicle, weird hair, and teaching some creature to be human. What do you think?
Oh, we have to do Don't Fall Into That Liquid? Yeah.
Seems like an obvious one, of course.
That's got so much potential.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. All right. So
I like teaching some creature to be human.
Which is specifically not necessarily an alien learning to be human, but you're teaching. This is about the people who are teaching them to do it. Okay.
Right. And I would say telekinesis. Telekinesis, that's an awesome power.
All right. Those are the picks. We will get those up in our Show Talk channel.
Hey, Andy, I want to vote in next week's challenge. How do I do that?
All you need to do is go over to the Show Talk channel in the Next Reel Discord community, and you can lend your vote in the chaos that is list picking and movie sabotage each week. How do you get access to the Show Talk channel, you ask? All you have to do is head over to thenextreel.com/membership, and you can become a member of the Next Reel family of podcasts. For just $1 a month, you can become a one-reeler and join our online community in our Discord server. And for a few dollars more a month, become a two-reel supporter and join us for show live streams as we record, early access to shows in your very own personal podcast feed, and access to the super secret member channels in Discord.
Super secret.
Plus, you can now support with a single annual donation at either level.
Wow, what a bargain.
And you know what else is exciting right now, gents?
What?
Are either of you big Letterboxd fans?
Love Letterboxd. I live by Letterboxd.
Letterboxd is offering Next Reel members a 20% discount to upgrade their membership to Pro or Patron levels. You just go to thenextreel.com/letterboxd and you can sign up right there. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
All right, everybody. Thanks to everybody who's joined us and for all of those checking us out. Your support allows us to keep producing and growing the Next Reel family podcast here at True Story FM. We hope you enjoyed listening and had fun with us chatting about movies today. Kyle, Ray, thank you so much for joining me today to chat. Have a good one.
Enough said.
Bye, bye, bye.